Hi, I'm Divya.
And I'm Sahana. We thank you all for taking time out of your day and joining us on this webinar. So, we've actually been interested about sustainable menstruation for a long time. Our mother was using menstrual cups and she influenced us. And ever since our first cycle, we were using cloth pads. So, we're very excited to spread the word about this. And we're generally very appreciative that you took time out of your day to join us. So, in this webinar, we're first going to talk about our movement. And then we're going to talk about the disadvantages of sanitary pads and tampons. And in doing so, we're going to introduce alternative, more eco friendly methods, such as usage of cloth pads and menstrual cups. And we also find it important that we address a few frequently asked questions about cloth pads. And we're also very excited to say that Miss Nina Valini, the founder of Hiccup, will be joining us, and she'll be talking about menstrual cups and answering questions too. And we would also request you all to mute your mics during this webinar, and feel free to ask questions anytime you want. Stop us and see if you have any questions. You can stop us anytime or ask towards the end of the webinar. So this is just a little about our movement. Our main aim is to raise awareness about sustainable menstruation, which is the usage of cloth pads, menstrual cups, or any other sustainable methods. And we also recognize that in order to promote this efficiently, it's important to raise awareness about the detrimental effects of sanitary pads and tampons. Our other aim is to also help women with this switch and handhold them through this process.
So, I'm going to be talking about some important statistics to really understand how profound this problem is. Over 200 kgs of menstrual products is produced in one woman's lifetime. 355 million menstruating women are in India. And the plastic content of one pad is equal to that of four plastic bags. And one pad takes over 800 years to fully degrade. According to the Menstrual Health Alliance of India, over 12.3 billion sanitary napkins are produced every year. Over 90 tons of sanitary waste is produced in Bangalore alone every day. And over 50 million tons of greenhouse gas emissions is produced every year. So now I'm going to be talking about the effects of sanitary pads on your health. So there are many harmful chemicals present in sanitary pads, such as styrene, which is used in car tires, chloromethane is used in petroleum refining, there's acetone, which is used in nail polish remover, and there are so many other harmful chemicals. These harmful chemicals cause rashes, irritation, fungal infections, and these are all symptoms of a condition called vulvar dermatitis. These many chemicals can also lead to endocrine disruption, hormone imbalance, cancer, birth defects, developmental disorders, and so much more. So, tampons also cause all these problems. There's also a condition called TSS that is caused by tampons. According to leading gynecologists, if you put a tampon in for up more than 10 hours, this can lead to the absorption of bodily fluid. The production of fluid in your vagina helps to prevent from viral and bacterial infection. So, if your tampon absorbs more body fluid than necessary, this can lead to increased susceptibility to viral and bacterial infections. This condition is called toxic shock syndrome, abbreviated TSS. The symptoms of TSS is high fever, rashes, reddened eyes, fainting, fatigue, and so much more. So, I will be talking about how sanitary pads are detrimental for the environment and the society. So, first of all, sanitary pads are non biodegradable and they're dumped in these landfills. So, now people may say, isn't incineration an easy way to get rid of these sanitary pads? But it is important to note that when you burn these sanitary pads, they emit harmful gases such as dioxins and furans, which leads to air pollution. And this also could cause breathing problems and asthma in many people. And furthermore, if this happens during a long period of time, then this could lead to further environmental degradation. And this could also be a contributing factor to global warming and the depletion of the ozone layer. And also, sanitary waste poses health hazards to waste pickers. It is known that sanitary waste in general is the breeding ground for all these pathogens and also these bacteria that could cause E. coli and HIV, tetanus. So it also poses a risk to waste pickers. So we have to think about this.
It also has health results for us and people whose job it is to pick up our waste and go in these sewers and pick up the sanitary pads. And also, these sanitary pads have super absorbent gel. So when they go down the sewage drains and end up in these sewage systems, they bloat up, sucking all the waste and all the water, and they clog the drains, which makes it even less appealing to these waste pickers to go down the drain and pick it for us. And also, it is important to note that, like I mentioned earlier, these sanitary pads are non biodegradable, hence, they can't degrade. So, they break into these small pieces called microplastics. And these microplastics are too small to go through the STPs, or the STPs can't properly account for them. Hence, they end up contaminating the soil, the water, and the air. Yes. Okay, continuing. This is a picture we thought was very impactful. This shows the waste picker and it also affects animals, as you can see, as they eat this waste and the sanitary waste. And over here, you can see this man, he's so disgusted by this. So people actually die from this work. So we also have to think about the impact on these people. We may not like realize that when we're using sanitary pads, they not only affect us, but also other people. Okay. Another detrimental effect of these sanitary pads is it's not exactly cost effective. Initially, it may seem like a very cheap purchase, just a few rupees or like approximately 100 per pack. But if you think about it, in the long run, menstrual cups and cloth pads are way more cost effective. Even though it may seem like a steep investment at first, if you look at it, one may cost around 1,000 or like 2,000 rupees. But you have to note that you only need 3 or 5 cups in your entire lifetime. And the same thing with cloth pads. They cost 100 per pad approximately. And you need 5 to 6 cloth pads per cycle. And you need to replace them every 2 or 3 years. So the main point over here is even though they may be expensive at first, they're reusable, but sanitary pads are not reusable. Hence, the cost tends to pile up in the future.
So now I'm going to talk about cloth pads. These are one of the eco-friendly alternatives you can use. Before that, what is sustainable menstruation? This refers to the use of eco-friendly products during your period. Cloth pads are reusable. They can be reused for up to 3 years. They're made up of natural materials such as banana and bamboo fiber, and for this reason, they're also biodegradable. Since they don't have any harsh chemicals, they won't cause any rashes or infections that are usually associated with disposable sanitary pads. So, in summary, they are better for your health and the environment. And as Sahana explained, they're also more cost effective. Personally, they're also much more comfortable. And they also benefit local artisans who have our best interests in mind rather than supporting big corporations. I would also like to add that cloth pads are much more absorbent than your conventional disposable sanitary pad. And I would also like to talk about biodegradable pads. They're getting quite popular now, and I would like to address them. So first, it should be noted that these pads are disposed and they pile up in landfills. And there is a lot of confusion around the regulations of whether it should be treated as dry waste or menstrual waste. So this waste that you dispose, it is never treated properly. And also, you should note that you are still buying these pads every month. So there are still a lot of resources that are being wasted in buying the pads every month. Also, many people dispose their pads with plastic bags. So it kind of defeats the purpose of using a biodegradable pad but then disposing it with a plastic bag, which is again non biodegradable. I would also like to note that most of these biodegradable pads are not 100% biodegradable. They do have plastic components. And there has been a few reviews by many different people who have actually tried these biodegradable pads out and they have actually tried to see whether it decomposes and like it hasn't really worked. So like you should never take anything at face value. You should always do your own research and see if it's actually like biodegradable. So I would like to get into a few commonly asked questions about cloth pads. You can definitely ask any questions you want at the end of this webinar, but these are just a few commonly asked questions. First, is it unhygienic? It should be noted that if you use any pad for a long time and there's moisture buildup and that is in contact with your skin, that can cause infection no matter what pad you wear. It's all about knowing your own body and how your flow is and how much time you should wear that pad. Generally, for medium flow, you can wear it for up to 4 hours. Now, how will I manage it in school? So this doesn't apply now, obviously, but like when school did happen, I'm just going to talk from my personal experience. So I carried a pouch with me, which was moisture locked, and whenever I wanted to dispose my pad, I would keep it in that pouch. And I had a designated area in my backpack where I would keep the pouch. So it comes in many like different varieties and colors. It usually like comes along with the cloth pad you buy, and immediately when I got back from school, I would wash it immediately. Yeah.
Okay. Now, another frequently asked question: how do I maintain my cloth pads and how do I use them? So, cloth pads are like sanitary pads except made out of cloth. They have these wings, and you simply need to button them behind your underwear, and that's it. It's that simple. Now, how do I maintain them or how do I wash them? So, as Divya mentioned earlier, you keep them on for up to 4 to 5 hours. It's all depending on your flow. But once you take it off, you can run it under cold water for a few minutes and then wash it with a mild detergent and then keep it dry in the sun for some time. So, that's very simple as you can see. Okay, now the next frequently asked question: do you waste a lot of water? So this is an extremely important question. And the best way to do that, answer this question is like I can say that you should generally be very like you should be conscious of how much water you're using and just not let the tap run. And all you need to know that you just need to let it run for a few minutes and that's enough for all the blood to get out of the pad. And also like a lot of people what they do is they just keep it and they let when they're taking a shower they let the water from the shower clean the pad. That's a good way to save water.
So we are currently going to introduce Meena Lanti. Thank you so much. She's going to be talking about menstrual cups.
Hello, everyone. Hi, Divya and Sahana. Thank you so much for having me. I am, quick introduction. I'm one of the founders of a menstrual cup company called Hiccup. We are based out of India, one of the few companies, working with menstrual cups that are based out of India. And I want to just sort of quickly take you through what menstrual cups are, how they're used, and then you can ask me any questions you have. Uh, Divya, can you just open up the presentation again? Okay. So, so this is what a menstrual cup looks like. Um, uh, the way a menstrual cup is used is, so unlike pads and tampons, which absorb the blood, a menstrual cup collects the blood, right? So a menstrual cup like this is made with medical grade silicone. There are also rubber and TPE menstrual cups available in the market, but it's the safest usually to use a medical grade silicone cup because it's also lasts 10 years. It is reusable, so the way, like, because it doesn't absorb blood, it just collects it. What you're supposed to do is, say for instance, you fold the cup, you insert it into your vagina, it opens up like this, it collects the blood, and you can leave it in for a full 12 hours, and then you just remove the cup, empty it, rinse it, and reinsert. So that way it is reusable. It can be used for up to 10 years. So you can use the same cup for about 10 years, which is, great in terms of the carbon footprint. It is great because whenever you're using something that's single use product, it needs to get manufactured constantly. You're using it, you're disposing it, so there's a lot of energy that goes into creating and destroying that product. Something like a cup or something like cloth pads are very energy efficient. They reduce the carbon footprint that we create. Right. So, among other things, that we get asked very often are: is a cup comfortable, or is it easy to get on with your daily routine life while wearing a cup? But when you're wearing a cup, typically it doesn't hurt, it doesn't feel uncomfortable. In fact, it feels like nothing at all. Anybody can use a cup. our youngest customer is 12 years old. Our oldest customer is about 45. So you can be any age when you start using a cup. And very quickly, so over here we have an illustration that shows what the different parts of the cup are. I'll also explain it here. So this over here on top is the rim. It's a little harder than the rest of the cup, because so that it helps the cup open up once it's inside. Over here there are volume markings. So here it says 7.5 ml and it says 15 ml. So the cup can hold up to 20-25 ml of blood, which is very surprisingly, people say it's just this much, it will fill up quickly or it won't last in very long. But the way pads are designed, with bleach, the way they're laid out, they make us feel like we bleed more than we actually do. And especially for me, when I started using a cup, I realized that I actually bleed way less than I thought I did. Even on heavy flow days, typically you barely reach the top in 12 hours. On top, you can also see there are these holes. You can also see it in the illustration. There are these holes. They are for releasing suction. So once the cup is inside, it stays as it is, right? It doesn't move. It stays as it is without moving, so that it can collect the blood effectively. But when you want to remove the cup, you need to fold it a little bit and then remove it. So the holes on the rim allow releasing of the suction. This is the base of the cup. This is called the stem, and the stem is useful in figuring out where a cup is, holding it to pull it a little bit and then removing it, right? So that's the way the cup is structured. If somebody is looking to buy a cup, a few quick tips I will give would be to buy a cup that is soft. Like for instance, this is also a soft cup, but there are other soft cups available in the market as well. They are easier to insert and easier to remove compared to more harder or firmer cups, I would say. And the second thing I would recommend is to back up with a stem at the base like this, because it's easier to reach for the cup, especially for first time users. So those are my recommendations. So people ask, why to use a menstrual cup, right? So the first thing I'd say is because it's healthier. Like Divya and Sahana mentioned, pads have chemicals like bleach. They have styrene, which is a known carcinogen. Uh, Tampons cause TSS. Both pads and tampons have been linked with infections and cervical cancer. So they are not super healthy for you because you're putting something very close to your body and your skin that is a chemical composition. So they're definitely not healthy for you. Something like a cup, which is say made with medical grade silicone, it's the same thing that's used uh, in cosmetic surgeries like plastic surgeries as well. And when the kids when you give them milk, there are these bottles, right, with the nipples on top. They are made with medical grade silicone as well, so you know that they're safe for long term use because they are used in all these in the health industry, right? Silicone has already been used. Secondly, they are non-reactive. Medical grade silicone is non-reactive, so that way it does not cause infections. The only thing and the most important thing to remember is to just wash your hands properly before and after you remove your cup every time. And you don't need to worry about infections, but I think washing your hands is something that we've all gotten used to in the last few months anyway. And in terms of cost now, I think again this is something we've covered really well, but in terms of a cost, while it may seem like upfront, it's a high cost, but you can think of it more as an investment, uh, because when you spend money on a cup, say a cup costs 850 rupees, which is approximately what 2 months worth of pads would cost, and it lasts you up to 10 years. So I think it ends up paying for itself. We can go to the next slide. Right. So I think the last thing I want to talk about is the environmental benefits. Again, they covered it really well, and there's a lot of text here. But I think it's just important to understand that each pad takes about 500 to 800 years to decompose, and each person uses about 11,000 of these pads or tampons in their lifetime, right? Which is a lot, which comes up to about 54 kgs of waste per person. And when you really think about it, every piece of plastic or every pad that has ever been created, right, is still on Earth somewhere. It's probably choking a sea animal or, just harming the environment generally. So it's very important to just understand uh, the impact that our actions have on the environment and then make conscious decisions accordingly. The last thing I want to talk about is some frequently asked questions about cups. Uh, okay, so the first thing is, will it get lost? So I think this question is a question we actually do get very often, and it stems from I think the way our schools don't really educate us about our bodies. We don't really know how the cervix works, or we don't really know about the way our biology is. But it is impossible for a cup to get lost. Like the cup sits right below the cervix in the vagina. The vagina is a muscle that does not get loose or tight. It's a muscle. It expands and contracts as required. And when a cup is inserted, it stays there, and it is not possible for a cup to get lost. And the second thing is, will it fit? So I think this is a question that's more about how to understand what size of cup to use. So we have two cups, two sizes. The way you can figure out which size to go with depends on how heavy or light your flow is, or and along with that, on how high or low your cervix is. There's a more detailed explanation of this on our website under the size guide on how to measure your cervix. It's also good, I think, a good practice to just get to understand your body better and to know, all your body parts. Um, will it be uncomfortable? To be honest, like using a cup, there is a little bit of a learning curve. Like it does take people typically about 2 to 3 period cycles to really understand what fold works for them. So that, for instance, I'll explain what a fold is. So if you want to insert a cup, maybe this, you insert it like this, that's a C fold, or you insert it like this, that's a punch down fold. So there are different ways of inserting a cup. So it takes people some time to figure out what fold works best for them. But overall, the actual usage is not uncomfortable. Like a cup does not, like if inserted properly, if you're using it properly, a cup should not hurt. A cup should not be uncomfortable. If it does, don't continue using it and figure out what the problem is. Will it fall off, and what the right size and type for me? So will it fall off? No. Again, so it's a muscle, right? Your vagina is a muscle. So when a cup is inserted, the muscle contracts and it keeps the cup in place. It is not possible for the cup to fall out or anything like that. You'll have to, plus there is that suction, the vacuum that's holding the cup in place. So you'll have to actually fold it and pull it out. It does not fall out by itself. What is the right size and type for me? Like I said, it depends entirely on how heavy or light your flow is and how high or low your cervix is. And last thing is, do I have to sterilize it before every use? So this is a very good question. Uh, the way you have to clean your cup is you just wash it with soap and water, so mild soap and water between uses. You need to sterilize a cup once every cycle, right? So say you've got your periods, you insert it, you remove it. So 12 hours up, you remove it, you wash it with water and soap, and then you reinsert it again. You continue this process till your periods are over, and once they're over, you sterilize a cup. So you put it in boiling water for 3 to 5 minutes, or you can also just leave it for about 10 minutes in really hot water that's come from a geyser, and take it out and store it in a clean airy bag. Like this is the one, this is a jute bag that we give with our cup, but to just store it in a clean airy place, and then take it out the next time and use it. So you need to sterilize it between uses, between cycles, but not between uses. So yeah, I think that's it from my end as well. If any of you have any questions about menstrual cups or even about cloth pads from Divya and Sahana, please feel free to ask.
Does anybody have any questions for us? It can be anything on like if you didn't understand how to use it, or if you want to like
know like how many to buy, what size, just any questions.
And
will
just
take.
generally anything we discussed in this PowerPoint, in this webinar, we would love to answer any questions. We can just wait for 2 minutes.
और एक बार मुझे दिखा सकते हैं कैसे यूज करने का है? मैं बीच में आई थी, प्लीज.
I think there's a question in the chat.
Yeah, I'll just look at it. Janvi is asking, how do you navigate changing a menstrual cup in a public restroom where access to water and toilet paper might be limited in freak scenarios you can't predict? Hi, Janvi. So I think, I think one really good thing about a cup is that you can leave it in for 12 hours compared to typically a sanitary napkin that you shouldn't ideally leave in for more than 4 to 6 hours. So I think there's definitely that benefit where if you know you're going to be in a situation where you won't be able to change your cup, you can just insert it right before leaving the house, and okay, you'll have 12 hours to sort of leave the cup in. Apart from that, it depends. Okay, so if you're in a public restroom where you don't have access to water and toilet paper, you might, so if you don't have access to just clean water, what I would recommend is to take toilet paper, clean the cup and reinsert it, and then when you reach home or whenever you have access to water, to wash it off. But if you don't have access to water and toilet paper both, in that scenario, it depends again on how long it will be. Like if it is, say, like maybe an hour or two longer, it's okay to leave the cup in. That will not cause a problem. But uh, in case you're going to leave it in for, if you know you're not going to have access to water for a much longer time, I would recommend removing it and then probably using something else. I think the problem necessarily is not that you won't have a place to clean the cup, because you can always empty the cup and reinsert it and then wash it later. But the more important thing is to wash your hands. So if I wouldn't recommend inserting or removing the cup at all if you don't have a space to wash your hands. So I think that's important. Like if you can wash your hands, then it's fine to remove the cup and reinsert it and then wash it later. That will not be a problem. I hope that helps.
Yeah, that was really helpful.
Yeah, I think Neela also had a question, and I couldn't hear you properly. Can you repeat what you were asking?
या मैं बीच में आई थी, मुझे कैसे वो यूज करने का मेथड है और एक बार दिखाएंगे.
I'm sorry, आपकी आवाज ब्रेक हो रही है. आप क्वेश्चन टाइप कर सकते हो चैट में. हेलो, आप अपना क्वेश्चन चैट में टाइप कर सकते हो प्लीज. आपकी आवाज ठीक से नहीं आ रही है.
ओके.
आप मेंस्ट्रुअल कप के बारे में पूछ रहे हो कि क्लॉथ पैड्स के बारे में? Oh, it seems she's left the meeting. If anyone else has any questions, please.
Hi, I'm Ranjini. So I had one question. Thank you firstly for the information.
I think you got cut off for a moment.
I just wanted to check whether it is okay to use the menstrual cup overnight, or is it recommended only for daytime use?
No, absolutely. You can use it overnight. Again, as long as it's 12 hours, you can definitely use it overnight. In fact, a menstrual cup is the only product that you can use throughout the night. You can use it while swimming. You can use it even while scuba diving, which you can't with any other product. But definitely, you can use it overnight. That's not a problem at all.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Yeah, I think Neela is a menstrual cup. Okay.
Yeah.
So I will just explain it again. तो ये cup है, ठीक है, कप ऐसे दिखता है। जो बाकी प्रोडक्ट्स होते हैं जैसे सैनिटरी नैपकिन्स या टैम्पॉन्स होते हैं वो ब्लड को अब्सॉर्ब करते हैं, बट कप ब्लड को कलेक्ट करता है। तो ये ऐसे होता है, ये मेडिकल ग्रेड सिलिकॉन से बना है। ये बहुत फ्लेक्सिबल और सॉफ्ट है, तो इसमें बहुत टाइप के फोल्ड होते हैं, बट आप इसको ऐसे फोल्ड कर सकते हो। एंड अगर ये आपका वजाइना है फॉर एग्जाम्पल, आप इसको ऐसे इंसर्ट कर सकते हो और वो अंदर जाके खुल जाता है। फिर आप इसको 12 घंटे तक यूज कर सकते हो, जहाँ पे ये कलेक्ट करेगा आपके ब्लड को। एंड देन आप इसको ऐसे रिमूव करके, एम्प्टी करके, पानी और माइल्ड सोप से क्लीन करके रीइंसर्ट कर सकते हो। तो उससे क्या होता है कि आप ये प्रोडक्ट एक तो 12 घंटे तक यूज कर सकते हो एक स्ट्रेच पे, एंड वैसे ये क्योंकि रियूजेबल होता है, इसको 10 साल तक इस्तेमाल कर सकते हैं। Neela, does that help you? Okay.
Does anybody have any more questions? So if anybody is interested in converting, you can definitely like put your phone numbers down. We can create a group and we can just help you out or handhold you. And if you want to know more about menstrual cups or cloth pads, you can definitely check our website out. It has some more information. Or if you want to recap how to use it, and you can even check up the My Hiccups site. It has a lot of helpful information on like she discussed earlier, like Neenal ma'am discussed earlier, on like how to choose your correct menstrual cup size and a lot more information. And we also have a forum. So if you really just want to contact us, if you have any queries, you can just drop a message and we'll definitely get back to you. If you want to know more, like this page shows all about like the eco-friendly alternatives that are there. And it says how to use here just in case you want to know. So this website will be really helpful to you.
I've added both the website links in the chat in case somebody wants to check them out.
Yeah. I mean, we've generally also given like sites you can buy cloth pads or menstrual cups. So that should be helpful. And you could also contact us at greenperiodmovement@gmail.com. If you can't remember the address, it's in the posters. You can just refer to that. Yeah.
Okay. And so I think there's a question from Neela. Neela, it depends on आपका blood flow कैसा है and आपका cervix का height क्या है. But अगर आपने natural childbirth, if like आपने natural childbirth process you have gone through, तो I would recommend to go forward with a larger cup. Yeah, that's.
Yeah.
Okay. Great. So I think, this has been great. If anybody has any questions from me, you can reach out to us on mail or on Instagram, on our website, anywhere. And you can also reach out to Divya and Sahana because they're doing a really, really good and inspiring job talking to young people about sustainable menstruation. So good going, guys. And thank you so much for having me.
Thank you for joining us.
Yeah.
Sure.
Okay. Again, if anybody has any questions, feel free to contact us. Thank you so much for taking this time to learn more about sustainable menstruation. You can definitely make a change. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Okay. So thank you all for joining. Where are cloth pads
Thank you.
available?
Bye.
Okay, so there is a question, where are cloth pads available? So there are many different brands. If you want to know, you can just check our website out. It's greenperiod.net. Generally, a brand we really personally like to use is Feel Free because we feel like it's really comfortable and it's also really easy to wash. So Feel Free, again, the link to it is in our website, but it's also available on Amazon. You can generally just search anything up on Amazon and it will come up. Feel Free, I think it's recently been renamed GeoCare. So if you just search up GeoCare, it'll come. Okay, she said K, thank you. Okay, cool. You're welcome. Welcome. Any other questions? I think. Okay, looks like. One more thing. Are there any more questions? What size is good for me? Did Meena ma'am already answer that?
Yeah.
Okay. She said there's one more thing. Okay, so if you don't have that much access to sunlight, it's fine to just wash it. First, rinse off the blood, and then you can put it in the washing machine along with your other clothes. It's perfectly fine. Or also, like generally, your cloth pads need heat to kill the bacteria. So if you don't have access to a lot of sunny places, you could also use a hair dryer. Or once it's still a little damp, you can like use an iron. So anything is fine. Iron, hair dryer, or washing machine if you don't have access to sun.
Yeah. We hope that answers your question. Okay. It looks like it's just done.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you for attending this webinar.